is an Unspoiled Network podcast.
This is Unspoiled, covering The Dark Tower, Book 6, Song of Susannah, Stanza 12, Jake and Callahan. In this chapter, Jake and Father Callahan are both convinced that they are going to die in the Dixie Pig. Which, you know, they really deserve a more distinguished death than to die somewhere called the Dixie Pig, with a cartoon roasted pig on the sign outside. Is there no justice? Welcome to Unspoiled.
Welcome to the Is There No Justice podcast. We have lots to talk about.
Oh my god. This whole thing was so stressful. Every bit of this, I just felt very concerned and very uncomfortable and very, aware that Father Callahan has not been around until recently. And I don't know this guy. You know, I guess I trust him, but, do I trust him? Really? It's not like I don't think he's truthful and honest about what he wants, but, when it comes down to the wire, I don't know how this guy performs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just really concerned about him and Jake, because Jake just tends to get the shit end of the stick all the time. Mm-hmm. And it feels really unfair that he got partnered with the guy with no experience. We have a kid and a noob, you know?
Yeah, although I do like that a lot of this chapter is kind of devoted to reminding you that he is a kid, but he is also a gunslinger.
Yeah, he is, but, he's a kid, though, too.
He's a telepathic gunslinger, also.
Right. Yeah, I just really... it feels really unbalanced, you know? Eddie and Roland getting to go off together, that's a serious power team right there.
Right, yeah.
Even Susannah and Mia are a power team in their way.
Yeah, I guess so the reason they did it that way was because they knew they'd need the firepower in the Dixie Pig, right? Mm-hmm. So they were gonna send Roland and Eddie over to 1999 New York, and they were going to send Jake and Callahan to find Tower. Mm-hmm. But, obviously, Ka had other plans. I don't know. I agree with you, but I also think it does a lot to kind of, ratchet up the tension a little bit, right? Because Callahan's never fired a gun.
Yeah, I mean, it does. It's just, that's the thing. It's the tension. It's it gets to
tension.
Me. It gets to me after
Can I ask you a question?
Maybe.
By the way, my name's Miles.
Hi, Miles. I'm Natasha.
Hi, Natasha. Nice to meet you. Have you read these books?
Up until this point, yes.
I appreciate the clarity. I have as well, up until this point, and beyond.
So. And beyond.
And beyond. So I have a question for you. Did King get you at all with the car at the beginning and Oi?
He did for a second. He did. I'm not gonna lie and say, I knew. I really thought, but it wasn't even that I thought Oi was dead. I thought that he was gonna have Oi be hurt and have that be an issue, and I was not excited about it.
I've been warning you that this is gonna happen more and more often. This kind of thing where it's the blare of a horn. And the thud. Dun dun dun. And the thud was Jake pounding on the hood of the car because he almost hit Oi.
Listen, Jake loses his goddamn mind.
Yeah, he does.
He needs to chill the fuck out a little bit because, listen, I love Oi too, but you can't be shooting a man in the middle of the street in New York because he hit your pet. I love Oi. I know he's more than a pet, really. But still, guy, Like, you are on a serious mission right now, and you cannot be blowing everything over this kind of thing.
Yeah, he fucking lost it. And, like, he's shown some signs of losing it since Benny died.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's just like, do you want to die in the street with a hole in your head? Jesus Christ, Jake. God, get a hold of yourself. So,
yeah, and you gotta love King's, like, portrait of the people standing around watching this, too.
Mm-hmm.
It's like one of them tells him to ventilate the camel jockey, which is just, that's great.
The kinds of, like, the creative slurs that we come up with as a society are really something.
Yeah, they're great.
So many ways to tell a person you don't respect them. It's really...
Yeah.
It really just boggles the mind. But yeah, so he loses his mind. Callahan is watching this very concerned because Jake's hand is shaking. He is not in gunslinger steady mode.
No.
He is in I am about to light up everybody who comes near me mode.
Yeah, he's in the same mode where he was like Frank fucking Tavery.
Yep.
Yeah.
And finally, this Oi tracks his attention, and the dude is about to lunge for the gun, and Callahan punches him. And everybody starts applauding, which is kind of great.
Wait, really? I must have missed that.
Yeah, he says that people start applauding as if they were, like, at a fight at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
And Callahan just realizes, like, this is fucking nuts. What are you people doing?
Why, this place is a madhouse. Did I know that before and forget, or is it something I just learned? I'm pretty sure you forgot.
Yeah.
Buddy.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, he probably did save that guy's life, though, right? Because, like, I feel like Jake would have shot him.
Oh my god, lunging for the gun of this kid?
Yeah.
Nah, not a smart move, my brother. Don't do it.
Speaking of which, they run into the Reverend Earl Harrigan, who makes another appearance in this book, and probably his... Ooh, what was that?
Oh, sorry, that's my phone buzzing.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what's happening when somebody texts me. My apologies. It's not coming through on the podcast, so everybody else doesn't know what you're talking about, but...
But yeah, probably the most screen time, I think, right, that Harrigan's had so far.
I think so, yeah.
Because we need to learn a little bit about his whole philosophy here, why he keeps talking about a god bomb.
This man, like, on the one hand, I'm like, this isn't okay. I don't like this. And then on the other hand, I'm like, thank God he was here. You know?
Yeah.
Like, he handles this man who's about to really start popping off a little bit.
He, like, fucking... Yeah, he handles him. He breaks his thumb.
It is a brutal thing to do just because somebody is starting to get mouthy in the street. Like, there really is no reason to ratchet it up to 11 the way that he does.
I don't think the first time I read this, it didn't stick out to me as much. But I was reading it again going like, okay, he's... Like, what did this guy do? I'm looking at it right now. He
leans on the horn to start off with. And
he's been leaning on the horn, and then they get the first cab driver out of there. Mm-hmm. And then the dude gets out of the car and says, "It ain't over till I say it's over." Mm-hmm. And he asks for their address.
Yes.
And a closer look at the pistol.
Yep.
And for this, now, like, I'm not saying if like Callahan or Jake had done something about this because they know they can't afford to give this guy what he wants,
right? That's
one thing. But for Harrigan's reaction to be like, okay, now I'm going to twist your thumb behind you and break it, and oh, you're calling for the cops? Guess what? I'm tight with the cops, and they're not going to come do anything for you.
Yeah, he, like, really... It is no joke. Like, when I said dial it to 11, I mean he dialed it from, like, a 3 to 11. Like,
yeah.
And I really think this is one of those situations where it's kind of like it's up for interpretation, really. But I think if we had tried to reason with this guy, you would have ended up in this position eventually anyway. I bet this guy is not somebody you can reason with. I bet you
Probably.
have to break his fucking thumb. I
Probably.
bet you. But he doesn't even attempt it.
It seems like the at least vaguely moral thing to do would be to let it get to that point.
Right?
Especially because the preacher has no fucking reason. I don't know. Anyway.
Well, like, this is the thing, though, is I wondered if he wasn't in, like, watchdog mode because he had a message for these two.
That's true. That's also very true. He might have been, like, very cognizant of that and really wanting to move the guy on as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Especially because they say afterward that the cops actually might be showing up if somebody makes a call about Jake having a gun.
Yes.
So, sure.
So, yeah, that was what was kind of on my mind there. Was like, is this guy going to 11 immediately because there's something kind of influencing him? Is this how he would act normally? Or, like, I would like to see a couple minutes after these two walk away, what frame of mind he's in. Does he stop and go, what the fuck was that? What did I just do?
Yeah, that's interesting, too.
Or is he like, good, I did my duty. Now I can go have my pancakes and bacon.
Yeah, and Callahan is noticing how, like, badass this guy is. Mm-hmm. Says, the pair was more than halfway to believing that if Jesus had had Earl Harrigan on his team, it probably would have been old Pontius who ended up on the cross.
Oh my god.
And then he says,
story.
And then Harrigan says, my friend, bombs will soon begin to fall. God bombs. And you have to choose whether you want to be among those who are, praise Jesus, up in the sky dropping those bombs, or those who were in the villages below getting blown to smithereens, which is an interesting take on, you know, the religion of Christ.
My dad would have loved this guy. I'm just saying. Like, especially when he's like, well, you know, Catholics are going to hell because you're part of the cult of Mary. Is that what he says?
Yeah, they're idolaters, right? Because they worship Mary and the Pope.
And the Pope. Don't get me started on him.
Yeah. But
yeah, my dad was 100% of that frame of mind as well.
Oh, yeah.
And he, you know, the whole idea of, like, God taking out his vengeance on non-believers in the apocalypse and, like, drowning them in seas of blood, like, my dad was 100% about it.
Well, see, my favorite thing about this is that it's not just God dropping the bombs on you. God hands the bombs to the people who ascend in the rapture.
Yeah, that's part of your treat.
Hey, you drop the bomb.
He's like, yeah, no, this will be really fun, guys. You get to murder people. Isn't that, like, no?
And it's totally not a sin. Tell me you guys haven't wanted to do this. Right? Come on now.
Yeah, the whole, like, way that he talks, too, where he's saying praise God, praise Jesus, like, in between every phrase, it's not even every sentence. It peppers in the middle of sentences, too.
Yeah.
It's really amusing.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, he's written very, very fun and very well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So he winds up giving them, finally, after this guy gets taken care of and sent on his merry way with his broken thumb, telling them that woman left me a message for you. I think there was 2 of her. You should watch out. Yeah. And that they need to go to the hotel first. They know where to find her at the Dixie Pig, but they need to stop by the hotel first. And they're like, well, which one? And he's like, she came from that way, and pretty much the only one over there is the plaza. So, yeah, so they head over. And
well, first he lets them in on the knowledge that they're, you know, they talk about the singing that they all hear because they're at 2 Hammerskjold Plaza, or however you pronounce that,
right,
where the Rose used to be, and as it turns out, still is. And he informs them that if you go inside this huge building, there is a garden. And in the garden there's a rose, and on the garden there's a sign that says, what does it say? It says, where is it?
I'm not there. My apologies.
No. Oh, here it is. Given by the Tet Corporation in honor of the Beam family and in memory of Gilead.
Right. The Beam family. Yeah, okay.
With an E at the end. I like it. So, yeah, it seems as though this building being there is the direct result of what Roland and Eddie have accomplished in the past.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really love this because it's like the whole concept of the rose. It's such a weird idea, first of all, that it's just chilling in the middle of this really crowded city in this like random spot.
Yeah.
So to start off with, it being in an abandoned lot is strange. But then to be like, but it doesn't have to be abandoned. It can be around people.
Right.
And change it up to that degree where it's sort of, it's almost like he undercut our expectations from the start. We're thinking something this important would have to be somewhere that was already sacred, and make it as like busted and broken down as possible. And then turn it around with like, and now it's somewhere that's maybe not exclusive to get to, but like, you're not probably going to be able to like go into that building and just saunter around for no reason easily.
It seems like it's some kind of financial place, right? Because he keeps talking about that. Like, you know, then they go back to their financial whores work or whatever he says. So it definitely seems like it's the kind of place that you get into if you have some major business to attend to.
Right.
Which would put a, you know, probably pretty hefty wealth and or class limit on who gets in and who doesn't. Because he seems to think like the fact that he managed to get in was kind of like a one-time thing.
Right. Yeah, so I find that really interesting that there's like, now it's almost like there's been protections put on it that weren't there before. Like it's leveling up or something, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I really enjoy the portrayal of Harrigan. One of the things that I really liked that I thought was interesting was at one point when they talk about how his like the congregation that he had, like the crowd that was listening to him preach, had like gone away and dispersed after the whole incident with the gun and everything. And Harrigan says, "Well, summer's a shitty time for converting anyway." What does he say? He says,
winter's the time you give him a hot bowl of soup and a hot piece of scripture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, he's obviously, like, doing the work of the good guys here, in a sense. And he's definitely a preacher, but he seems really to have his own moral compass and his own moral spectrum here.
I mean, he's at least, like, and that's one of those things that's just so true, is that you have to, if you're going to be, like, you know, a missionary, you can either choose to be an idealist about it, or you can be realistic about human nature and when is a good time to capitalize on things. And he is the latter.
Yeah, and it's not just that, it's also, like, you know, his basic views on pretty much everyone. And of course, the fact that he was instantly willing to, like, almost try, you know, not kill the guy, but maybe maim him. Anyway,
I only meant to maim or severely injure.
I like Harrigan. I think he's fun.
Yeah, he is fun.
So yeah, they do go to the hotel. Oh yeah, because the cops start showing up, and he does tell them, "Beware that woman, boy. She put a thought in my head. I call that witchcraft, and she was too."
Yeah, I like that he could tell that.
Yeah.
What a weird thing.
Yeah. And Jake also says an interesting thing at one point when they're listening to the rose. He says, "So speaks Gan along the beam." And later as they're heading over to the hotel, Jake says that came from the touch, and he thinks he was touching Mia when he said it.
Yeah, which, I don't like that. I don't want Mia anywhere near any of my boys. It's bad enough that she's near Susannah. I don't like it. No, bitch, get out. Disapprove.
He's also getting a vision of this dude, a man with with a toothbrush mustache who wears funny little gold-rimmed glasses like a wizard in a fairy tale.
I got nothing. Am I supposed to be putting something together here?
No, he shows up later.
He does?
Yeah, he's the guy playing guitar when they get to the Dixie Pig.
But there's nobody there.
Isn't there?
No, they get there after that guy's gone. And he just can tell by the cigarettes that are mashed out on the ground.
Oh, but he can tell that Mia and Susannah talk to the guy.
Okay, does he describe him as being the one that he saw in that vision, though?
I think so.
I don't remember
Let me make sure.
Pop quiz. Because, yeah, I didn't remember that. It's possible that I just, missed it. But, because there is a lot to keep track of in this chapter.
Well, he says... Okay, so I guess I had sort of read that this dude that Jake saw in the vision, the black man in the jail cell, somehow I thought he was playing guitar. But now I'm not seeing that. So I think I got confused. Yeah, I'm not sure. So I'm honestly not sure who that's supposed to be, if we've met that person before, to be honest. I don't even know.
So yeah, but he's hearing the things that Susannah was hearing when she was having memories of being there.
Yeah.
And this is actually something that I had wanted to bring up because we were talking last episode with the writer about the cloud that they can see around King and what that means. And Roland's saying something about how he's marked for death. And I feel like, because Susannah hears that Stephen King was killed in a car crash, right? Or hit by a car and killed. Yeah. And they say killed. And I feel like she's hearing the worst version of a possible world.
She's hearing the darkest timeline.
Kind of, Yeah. And that somehow Roland and Eddie are going to save him. Because King, when he got hit, he nearly died. It was a really, 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 really close thing.
Yeah, it was.
They almost weren't even sure he'd be able to walk again. And he can walk, but it is not he was never the same after that. Things hurt and his body didn't work the same after.
Sure.
And I really wonder if that's not going to be part of the story, that they managed to either keep him from dying, or if he died and then they go back and fix it and just managed to barely save him somehow.
Right.
Because that would be kind of, I could see, nearly dying is going to make an impression on you as a person. Mm-hmm. And I could see really wanting to include something like that in your story, a what if, because there's probably I'm just, spitballing from my limited understanding of what something like that would be like. But I would imagine being haunted constantly by the possibility that if anything had gone a fraction of a second differently, it might have been something totally else. Either if I had just not taken that one step that way, I would have not been hit at all.
Butterfly effect.
Yeah, just and how just totally out of control things like that can be. It's just, there is no way, when people try and act like you make your own destiny, I can't help but laugh, because sure, to a point you can do your best, but there is no way to control everything. And how terrifying it is when you're faced with that at times and you see, oh, there is literally nothing I could have done in this situation to foresee what was about to happen, or to change it, or to have prepared myself better, or anything. It was going to go that way, and anything that might have changed the outcome would have been accidental. It couldn't have been something that well, if I had only remembered to take my phone. No, it was nothing like that. It was just, had I maybe tripped, or maybe he looked down at the radio before he looked up again, or just purely accidental things, that kind of shit haunts me, because I am a control freak and I do not like being reminded that I can't control most things. It's very uncomfortable. I do not like that feeling.
Well, all I know is that when I finally get around to, like, publishing a novel, it's definitely going to be about how, in the event of my death, the entire universe is going to hell.
Right?
So, yeah. Hopefully that'll become a bestseller and, like, imprint on the public consciousness, and they'll, like, be really, like, give me a bunch of money to make sure I never die.
To protect you.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to be the Rose, you know, in this world, because like I'm really not into the whole dying thing, and like it's not like I know a whole lot of people who are, but I'm sure there are people who are more okay with it than I am, because I'm not at all okay with it. So yeah, I would really like if, you know, like maybe I start like a Kickstarter to never die. You know, if we get that technology, get that maybe even that like San Junipero shit. Like I'd be okay with that. You know,
I have such a weird relationship with the idea of dying, because on the one hand I'm like, yeah, I have a lot of shit I still want to do. Like, no. And on the other hand I'm like, oh, but I really want to know. Like, I'm very curious. Let's do this then. So
that's
I
so
have
funny.
A very like back and forth sort of vibe about it.
See, I have no interest.
I mean, I understand that. Especially if you really don't have a solid feeling that there is something else. Like, why would you have interest too? You know?
Yeah.
So, and I know a lot of people like that. For me, I really think there's probably something else.
I mean, whatever. It's fine. I just want to stay being me. That's my big thing.
Yeah.
Like, even if there's like reincarnation or whatever, like that's fine. But then I'm not gonna be me anymore, or like remember any of my life, and I really want to. So it's like I really fucking hope that somebody is right in terms of there being like I want there to be an afterlife. I don't necessarily think there is, but I would love it if that was a thing.
That's interesting, because you're saying like I won't be myself or my like, and you don't know that. But
I mean, true, but like I don't know. I feel like anyway.
See, this is the thing. This is what I want to know, because we all have these assumptions that we make by complete default. We're just like, oh, well, this will happen. And like we assume, even though we have no fucking clue, you know, like I have always been like, oh no, you'll probably remember who you are. And then you get to look back at things and get to see like, hey, this is where you fucked up. That was pretty fucked up. Why'd you do that?
Yeah.
Kind of shit.
See, I'm not, the great mysteries don't have a terrible amount of appeal for me. I don't care. It's like, it works. I'm cool with the fact that it works. I enjoy my life. Let's keep it going. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel you on that. I think it's more just like, and then there are moments where I'm like, I'm curious, but like, what if it isn't anything? Then I'll feel like an idiot. Then I'll be like, oh,
I mean,
well,
you won't know.
I thought I was fine with leaving, but now there's nothing. So I guess that's true. I wouldn't, because I wouldn't. But
yeah.
Or there's like, there's been a couple different shows that have like the afterlife portrayed in such a way that is very unappealing. Like,
sure,
that makes you really go, oh, that's worse. I'll stay here, thank you.
Yeah, I hope that somebody is right. I kind of hope it's not like Orthodox Christians, because like hell doesn't sound too fun, and that's where I would definitely go
if they're right.
Yeah, I mean, like if like the super orthodox interpretation of like what gets you into hell is correct. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm sorry, I did premarital sex. I've done drugs. I've taken the Lord's name in vain.
Oh my god!
I've stolen. I've
coveted thy neighbor's wife.
Oh, I've definitely coveted my neighbor's wife. I think. Possibly in the most literal interpretation of that phrase.
Wow. Was it actually your neighbor?
Because
that would be the best thing, if it was literally somebody who lived next door to you.
So, I'm trying to remember if that's actually happened. I know for a fact that I've coveted my roommate's girlfriend.
Okay.
If that counts. I mean, that's like closer than a neighbor, right?
Yeah.
So, he was my neighbor in terms of like his room was next to mine.
Yeah, I think that totally counts.
Yeah, all right. Well, there you go. I done coveted. What can I say?
I done coveted.
I just I just hope I just hope that at the end of the day, I get to be the one dropping the bombs on everyone else, not the one being bombed, since apparently there's no middle ground.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, you can't just be the neutral party here. Hey, you guys want to do, but I'm gonna go and have some punch.
Oh god, that would totally be me though. I would be like, I would ascend in the rapture, and like God would be handing out the God bombs for people to drop, and I would be the one like writing an op-ed about how it's immoral,
right,
to be doing that, and like how we need reform in heaven.
It's like, this is fucked up, guys. I left there to get away from this kind of shit.
Exactly.
Jesus. And then you'd say Jesus, and God would give you a look, and you'd be like,
Sorry.
Anyway, so they wind up going to the hotel and getting a key that was left, according to the front desk lady, by somebody named Stephen King.
Right. Which
they don't think is really true.
Yeah, but it probably is, though, right? Because these were the words that he was saying to himself when we left him last.
Okay, because did he say the whole thing?
Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
He said all three of those lines.
Eats them. Because of course he does.
I think this is the same woman that Susannah encountered, right? Because they mentioned that she's like distracted or something.
Mm-hmm. I think it is. Well, I don't know. Maybe it is because she's gone when they come downstairs later. She and Mia, she notes to herself like the girl was gone, but she, who knows?
Yeah.
But the key turns red after he reads the line about it.
Yeah, it's a white key that turns red.
Yeah. Which
is fun.
And they go, and he figures that it's floor 19. And then when they get up there, it's room 1919. He's like,
well, of course
duh.
Yeah. I love that Callahan is noticing during this exchange that Jake is having with this woman that, if anybody was paying attention, they might notice that this isn't a normal 12-year-old kid.
Mm-hmm.
And Callahan thinks back to, how he reacted when the car almost hit Oi. And he was like, this is not normal. But that actually makes him feel better.
Right. Yeah, I really wonder, I don't have anybody in mind, and I don't think I would, but I'm trying to think how hard it would be to cast Jake at this point in the story. You cast him as the school kid that Roland saves, who's kind of clueless, and that's easy. Casting him as a 12-year-old kid who feels dangerous and ready, that's hard. I don't even know if that's something that you can find. I guess you'd probably look at an age range and just hope that they could pass for 12.
He's definitely too old now, but back in 2010, 2011, I feel like the kid who played Joffrey might be able to pull it off. Jack Gleason?
Oh, no. Definitely not. He's so immature feeling. But he has that fire in his eyes that he can bring out, though. He does, but it's nuts. It's manic. It's not under control.
I see.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he might be able to do it, but I just haven't seen that in his performance. He always looked like he was on the verge of absolutely losing his fucking mind.
True. Well, we might get to find out because they're it looks like they're actually moving forward with the TV show.
Oh my god, I forgot all about that.
Yeah, everyone did.
Who are they casting? Did they say anything yet?
They haven't said anything about it yet, to my knowledge. The movie, did horribly because apparently it was terrible, but it didn't make very much money at all.
Did you see it?
No.
Oh, all I heard was terrible things.
I hadn't finished the seventh book when it came out.
That's
so
right.
I was still avoiding spoilers at the time, but yeah, and everybody was like, "Oh well, this TV show they're doing nothing will come to that." And now apparently it's being developed at Amazon.
Huh? Amazon's doing it. Okay.
I know that So the showrunner is the guy who was behind the 3rd season of Walking Dead, if that tells you anything?
I like the the one thing I remember about the 3rd season was that I liked it way better than the 2nd season until the finale, which was the worst finale almost of any show I've ever seen. Like,
okay,
in terms of individual season finales, not overall series finales. But I remember being so angry when I covered that 3rd season finale. I was so fucking mad, and everybody had been waiting for me to get there, because I think once I got to the end of the 3rd season, I was finally caught up with the show airing in real time, and everybody else had also gotten super mad, so they were all just waiting for me to get to that point, and then cackled when I did. So
yeah, originally the plan was to bring in Elba and the kid who played Jake into the TV show, but it's unclear at this point if that's still going to happen.
It would be really cool, like, to just have Elba doing anything else that I get to watch on a consistent basis. I would be 1,000% okay with that, but, like, I also don't want them bringing in a bunch of baggage from a show that was garbage, or a movie that was garbage.
Man, he's so good. I rewatched. I know you've been doing the MCU challenge with Owen. Mm-hmm. You guys are wrong about so many things, by the way. But
that's fair.
But I was, Sharon and I have been doing it too, and I remember we rewatched Thor and the second Thor, and it's just like, oh god, he's so good.
Apparently, he hated playing that role. Did you hear that?
No, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, I don't remember who it was. Like, I read it somewhere that it was just, like, he didn't even want to do another one when they decided to cast him in...
Oh, in Ragnarok?
No. It was for that little bit that he did in Thor's Vision in...
Oh, in Ultron.
Yeah. And as early as that, he was just kind of like, I don't want to do this again. But it's been so successful. But yeah, he is... It's weird. Go ahead.
I would say he was so great in Ragnarok that, like, fuck what you want, Idris Elba.
Yeah, it does come to a point that you're just like, yeah, well, maybe just don't do such a good job then, guy. That's kind of on you.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they go up to the room, and before they've even gotten there, they could tell something is wrong.
Yeah.
It's bad.
It's real bad, because Black 13 done woke up.
Mm-hmm. And when they open the door of the room, it's already feeling weird in there. Like, it's hazy and dark. Not dark, but, like, starting to be. And once Jake opens the safe, the noise that's coming from this thing gets even louder. And it starts to really grow dark. And Callahan can see that Jake's about to open the box. And it's like, oh, we can't have that. And he steps forward like he's going to keep him from doing that. And then he starts to feel the pull to open the box.
Right. And they've actually left Oi outside. Mm-hmm. And Oi has started to bark, which is disturbing other people in the hotel.
Yep.
So this maid comes in to tell them to please shut up their dog, if you don't mind. And then she goes like, let's open the box.
Mm-hmm. And Callahan can hear the box telling him, well, just cut Jake's throat and let me feel some blood on me, and then you can just jump out the window, and it'll be... Everybody gets what they want, right?
Yeah, I'll even let you say the name of the Crimson King, my master, on the way down.
Just, like, I know that you both want to die. Yeah. I'll just let you both die. I mean, I think that's really the kindest thing I can offer you.
And Jake is like, yeah, could you do that, please? That sounds great.
Yeah, he says, just go ahead and do it. Who cares?
Yeah.
Which is, like, even worse. It's not like, yes, I want you to. It's just fucking fine, whatever.
But he wants to see it.
Yes.
He says, open the box, I want to see it. And that's what the maid says, too.
Yep.
And then Callahan essentially has a revelation. Mm-hmm. He thinks back to his time by the way, this is all creepy as hell, you guys, in case we haven't conveyed it very well. Like, before I get into the solution, like, let's be clear, this is awful.
Yep.
Because they're all under its sway right now, and, like, Callahan is super ready to just let them all die.
Yep.
But he thinks back to the events of Salem's Lot, when Kurt Barlow, the vampire that he was hunting at the time, took his cross out of his hand like it was nothing. Why had he been able to do that? Because, behold the paradox, consider the riddle, Father Callahan had failed to throw the cross away himself. Because he had failed to accept that the cross was nothing but one symbol of a far greater power, one that ran like a river beneath the universe, perhaps beneath 1,000 universes.
Yep.
I love this. I'm not even religious, and I love all of this.
Yeah, I'm always a big fan of the concept that, like, a symbol is just a symbol.
Yeah.
You know, and you get to imbue it with whatever meaning you want. And if you want it to mean something, you really have to focus on the meaning and not the object. And that's something that comes up in Dresden Files. Like, these vampires are so used to people holding up crosses against them and them being completely ineffective because people use the cross as a weapon without having any faith behind it at all.
Yeah.
So one of them reaches out to touch the cross that this guy is holding, and her hand burst into flames. And she was not prepared for that because nobody ever has faith except this guy does. Surprise, bitch. And so, you know, it's like a big, and it's like in the middle of a party when it happens. And Harry has to be like, dude, and he's like, I'm sorry. But he couldn't, like, he just has faith. He didn't realize she was going to touch the thing. Like,
I don't remember if I've talked about this before or not, but have you ever seen the movie Dracula 2000?
No, I have not.
Oh, it's awful, and you have to see it. It's really good, but it's terrible. And my favorite thing about it is that at one point, one of the vampires is actually played by Omar Epps, of all people.
Oh my god, really?
Yeah. This movie has Omar Epps in it. It's got, what's her name, Jerry Ryan, who played Seven of Nine on Voyager. It's got, like, some people in it, man. It's crazy. So Omar Epps tackles this, you know, like, our hero, like, one of the main characters,
right.
Tackles him, and the guy, I think his name is Simon, is the character, and Simon holds up a cross, and Omar Epps says, sorry, sport, I'm an atheist. And Simon pushes a button on the cross, and a little spike comes out of the bottom, and he says, God loves you anyway, and stabs him in the face.
Wow.
It's just my favorite thing.
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh, Dracula 2000, y'all. It's super good, except it's terrible.
God damn. All right, then. Noted. God loves you anyway.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I was cracking up because Rashawn's husband's email is... I had to send them some money via PayPal before our trip. And I was like, what email should I send it to? And she's like, she's paused in this way that I was like, oh, this is going to be good. And she was like, Superdago 2776 at atheist.com. And I was like, I'm sorry. Can you say that again?
Come again?
Like, I lost my shit. And I was at dinner with his grandparents at the time. I got her phone call because she was like, you know, and I got off the phone and I told Owen, and he's dying laughing. Dying. Like, he couldn't handle it at all. Meanwhile, his grandmother, with a dead straight face in the background, going, atheist, huh? Well, we know where he's going. Lady, that's the part that you focused on? Really? That's what you...
Yeah,
not
right.
the super dago. No. Oh my god, I fucking died.
Oh god.
Anyway.
I used to... When I was in high school, and like shortly after high school, I used to wear a lot of like... I used to be... Not goth, but like just stupid goth. I used to wear a lot of jewelry for no reason, and I liked crosses because I was we don't have to go into the kind of person I was at the end of high school. But
guys, his song at karaoke is "Losing My Religion."
It totally was. It was "Losing My Religion" and Mary Jane's Last Dance. So we go into this Denny's. I think it was Denny's, or maybe it was Village Inn. I think it was Denny's, though. We used to go to Denny's all the time. And I'm wearing this cross necklace that I had, that had, like, garnets in it, and I really liked it. And this old couple was coming out, and I held the door for them, and the old lady is like, "Oh, thank you so much. That's a beautiful cross." I was like, "Oh, thank you." She's like, "Yeah, God loves you." And I was like, "Well, I mean, I'm Jewish, but thank you. I appreciate it." And
Surprise!
she goes, "Oh, well, you're going to hell then."
Did she just say it?
She fucking said it.
Oh, bless
And I
her.
was like, "Wow, okay, thank you. Have a nice night."
Wow.
Oh,
all right,
God.
cool. Thanks.
I was the worst in the end of high school, man. I was really
just
not an okay person.
I think
For many reasons.
Yeah, there's I think we all have our moments. Like, I feel better about how I was in high school than how I was the couple of years after high school. I feel like things started to happen in my brain and just, like, threw me completely off because I had been very focused and organized and, like, on my game, and I knew what I wanted, and then all of a sudden I hit this bump and I was like, "Oh, I don't know what. Well, I'm just gonna work at a hotel, I guess. Quit school probably. Well, no, maybe I'll go back to school. Nope. I think I'm gonna quit again. No, I think I'm gonna go. I just went back and forth, like, yeah.
The entire decade between when I was 15 and when I was 25, it was like a complete wash. So the aughts, essentially.
The aughts, nice.
Fuck the aughts. The aughts were the worst. Anyway.
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
We've been
Tangents.
going on. I like to think that every time we go on one of these long-ass tangents, like, a fucking online troll loses its wings, and I'm happy.
I like to think that somebody is just pressing for, like, the 10-second jump button over and over again, and they
It's like,
keep
Jesus
just being like,
Christ,
"Holy
they're
God."
still going.
So he manages to basically send out a prayer to God that if you can see it, that I should, like, get through this and that we should beat this. Please put this fucking thing back to sleep. Please.
Yeah. He prays it back to sleep.
And it works, yeah. And this poor woman is so shaken up, and Jake is like, "You should take a nap." And she just lays down and passes the fuck out.
I mean, to be fair, if anyone ever says it to me, I think I'll take their advice.
Right, true.
It's like, "Hey, you should take a nap." No, okay, should. Right.
Which leads to Father Callahan robbing her.
Yeah.
Just so rude. Just put this woman through, like, one of the worst things that she'll probably ever experience in her life, and then take all her money. Okay, sure. And also there's the bag of plates in there, which Jake takes.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So that's convenient.
Yeah, because Jake ends up giving Callahan the gun and taking the plates himself.
Right.
When they go into the Dixie Pig. So Callahan has a thought, remembering, because they have a conversation about what they're going to do with Black 13 now that it's asleep again. Because, they're not taking it into the fucking Dixie Pig. Because that's ridiculous. But they can't leave it here, because eventually Mia is going to tell the people in the Dixie Pig that it's here. So what are they going to do with it? And Callahan has an idea, because he remembers a conversation that he had with Frankie Chase and Rowan Magruder about where the safest place is to store your valuables if you have to go away for a while.
Which, I guess, sure.
And as it turns out, that place is the World Trade Center.
This is... When was this written?
This book came out in 2003.
So it's basically like, yeah, we're gonna let the ball get busted up by a plane?
Well, they have no idea is the thing.
Well, they don't. Like, no, I'm saying, saying, like, we're going to let the ball get busted up.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
saying that as king.
Oh, yeah, totally.
So,
yeah.
are we to take it that they... Well, I guess, we could take it, but we don't know for sure that the ball is, like, going to get got. But
yeah, I mean...
it might get taken out of there before then, but I just don't know. Yeah,
that's what Callahan says. After they see that great Jamaican cab driver who's like, "Hey, man, don't hurt yourself with a tip."
Oh my god.
Which I loved. But yeah, they go to the World Trade Center, which offers up to 36 months of storage if you have enough money, which they kind of barely do. After robbing the maid. Mm-hmm. And they say, where is it?
It's good until June 2002.
Yeah, it's good to go until June of 2002, unless someone breaks in and steals it. Or if the building falls down on top of it, Jake said. Mm-hmm. Callahan laughed, although Jake hadn't quite sounded as if he were joking. Never happened. And if it did, well, one glass ball under 110 stories of concrete and steel, even a glass ball filled with deep magic, that'd be one way to take care of the nasty thing, I guess.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm really not, like, sold that this is going to destroy it. Like, this thing is so powerful.
No, the Deus Ex Machina that gets Black 13 out of their lives is 9/11. I love it so much.
Is it, though?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know, because I haven't read these before. So...
And because I feel like if you want to do that, you could just be like, oh, Black 13 called those planes to it.
Oh, shit.
Like it meant you to do this so that it could get out. Because there was no way it was going to be found in that locker. So it like wanted some poor fucking EMT to find it when they were combing through the rubble later.
Oh, man.
I
mean, it is made of glass.
Yeah, but like...
But then that begs the question of why they can't just shatter it. I guess if they got... Because they didn't get out of the box, did they? Mm-mm. So I'm assuming that if that thing comes out of the box and is that close to them, then they're not doing anything but what it wants them to do. Which is why they can't just shatter it, right?
I think, like, when Eddie touches it, he almost dies, right?
Yeah.
And he's the only one who's touched it, right?
Yeah. So,
yeah.
Callahan says he looked at it once, and it was, like, the worst experience of his life.
So you could just put the closed box into a fucking trash compactor. Done.
Yeah, right? I don't...
This is what I'm saying. That feels so easy.
I mean... Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's, like... I don't know.
Maybe it's, like... I mean, because this is the thing, is that it's supposedly got its kind of own consciousness, but you're not sure how it works because it's awake when they come, so it's able to try and tempt them to open the box. So if they were setting out to put it into a trash compactor, would it be aware of that? Would it come awake and be like, "Oh no, you don't, bitch"? Like,
right?
Would it shut down the trash compactor? Like,
maybe they needed to trick it like this,
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. It's worth thinking about whether or not it's going to come back. I have no idea. So after they drop that ball off at the World Trade Center,
mm-hmm.
God, I just love it so much. They're completely unaware of what they're doing. Anyway, so Jake, they get to the Dixie Pig. Jake basically starts to like read what happened in the past around this area,
right?
And discovers that there was a dude playing guitar who's definitely not the black guy in jail in Jake's vision from earlier, and I don't know why, Natasha, you thought that it might be. Because there's no evidence.
My mistake.
There's no evidence to support that, and I just don't know why you would think that. That's kind of crazy. So if you could do a better job reading more closely, that'd be amazing. But they go there. There was a guitar player, and he happened to be singing the song that Natasha,
Listen,
that Susannah.
You need to get it together, sir. Good Lord.
He happened to be singing the song that Susannah sang in Caliber and Sturgis.
Right.
And so she kind of stopped to listen to it and gave him money and said, "Remember the struggle," right?
Right.
Because now do you know what the song is like by the lyrics?
I am a man of constant sorrow.
Okay, yes. Okay.
That's what I picture, except that she says that Jake says Mia started crying, and I don't see anyone crying at that song.
Well, what's it about?
It's that, like, it's just, I've seen troubles all my days. Like, it's just like a folk song about, like, oh, my life's been so hard.
Huh.
I bid farewell to old Kentucky, the place where I was born and raised, the place where he was born and raised. Like, I think it's that song. The lyrics sounded and were in the rhythm of that song.
I'm just like trying to look it up right now. I saw that public interest in the song, according to Wikipedia, was renewed after the release of the 2000 film "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou," where it plays such a role in the plot. Mm-hmm. Man, I hadn't seen
That's where I'm singing it from.
I hadn't seen that movie in like I hadn't seen it until like last year.
Oh, really?
It was really fucking good, but I'd never seen it before.
Yeah, people loved it. It was not my jam at all.
Oh, really?
I get why people liked it, but it just, one of those things.
Yeah. Anyway. So, yeah, for whatever reason, this song made Mia cry.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I'm thinking, like, it can't be that song, can it? Or else it's one of those folk songs that you can sing in a completely different tempo and key, and it just sounds totally different. Because
might be.
There's a few, like, especially, like, certain Irish folk songs and whatnot. They can do a really beautiful upbeat version, and then you hear, like, the original, and it's this plaintive, like, really depressing, actually, song, and you're like, oh, God. So, yeah, it's probably one of those.
No, it's that song.
Is it?
Yeah. I mean, according to the internet.
Yeah, maybe the version from "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou" is a little bit more upbeat.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it is, it is called "Man of Constant Sorrow," so, right? I imagine there might be a way to sing it in a minor key. But as it turns out, while Mia was distracted by the tears covering her eyes, Susannah managed to slip out the fucking turtle.
Yeah.
And leave it for them.
And at first, Jake thinks it's gone, and he's really panicking.
He's all mad.
I like this, too, because that turtle attracts people, so it makes total sense that
like somebody would just take it.
Yeah. But it turns out that, they dropped it, or were made to drop it, one or the other. And
Oi retrieves it, because Oi's the best.
Yeah, Oi, what did we do without you, buddy?
Yeah, seriously.
And, it's like they're both prepared to walk into the Dixie Pig and die.
Yeah.
And I feel like this helps them with that. Like, they're both prepared. They're willing. They're ready. They're facing this. But I feel like this gives Jake and Callahan a boost.
Well, yeah, and Callahan is letting Jake kind of lead the way on this whole thing. Jake is talking tactics and laying out how they're going to do this, like very specifically the way Roland has taught him. Mm-hmm. They definitely know, like they talk about how they have them talk about it, but they know they're going to die. And to the point where Callahan, like, reads Jake his last rites.
Right.
And which is when Oi... Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was saying, which is when Oi shows up with the turtle, and when he does, Jake is like, "Holy shit, we might have a chance."
Yeah, well, I think, like, I was thinking about this, and I don't think they actually die here, but I could see that being a risk that King would take, killing them here. Like, I could see him doing that. At least killing Callahan.
Yeah.
Because, like, fuck the newbie, am I right?
Noob.
0-0.
I also love Jake saying, "Let's go give them some last rites."
Oh yeah, that was a good line.
Pretty great.
Thanks, Jake. Can be a little badass when he wants. Yeah, he says to make sure that we stay at least 10 feet apart so that they can't get both of us at once.
Yeah.
And I like that detail because it's really instinctual when you are inexperienced to go into a place like that and want to stick together. You know, like I would never think to separate as an advantage. I would think of that as being, no, they're, you know, what if they separate us from each other? We're stronger together.
Right.
But yeah, them capturing both of you at once that's just, then they're done. You got to make it hard for them. No, if that's their goal, capturing you, which I'm not sure that they know that, but they basically, like, Jake says to him, yeah, don't worry. They will not take us alive.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, yikes. Don't care for that.
Yeah, but I think what you were kind of driving at before, and I think I interrupted you, and I'm sorry about that, was that, like, it's totally plausible that one or more of them will die here. Mm-hmm. But, like, if they don't, it's neat that they have the turtle as a nice explanation of why. Right, true. Like, that's just kind of a thing that has proven so magical that it might give them a shred of hope here. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's, you know, that's believable. This chapter, I think, is kind of like... This chapter in particular really terms up the, like, the circumstantial things coming together notch. Right. You know, like... Yeah. It's really like, okay, well, the Tet Corporation is a thing now, and we put the ball in the World Trade Center, and it's going to get buried by 9/11, and Susannah managed to get a message to Earl Harrigan, and also managed to drop the turtle for us, and, you know, everything's coming together. But at one point, they do say, like Jake says, I feel like we're closer to the Dark Tower, like, we're really close to the Dark Tower. Mm-hmm. So, you know, and again, I think that's why from an in-story perspective, I think you can say that's why we're seeing these things kind of heating up. Is because they're so close. Okay. I can accept that. You know, and in narrative terms, of course, you know, I mean, King used to wrap some shit up, man. Right, yeah, that right? As well. So, yeah, that's basically that chapter with them going in. Yeah. Ready to guns and plates blazing. Plates blazing just doesn't have the same sort of ring to it, does it? Not so much. Not so much. But, yeah, there is one chapter left in this book, and then the coda. So did you want to read them separately or together? So chapter 13, stanza 13, my apologies, is about 40 pages long, which is kind of our standard. Let's see, the coda's about 20 pages long. So do them separately. I mean, it's up to you. Do you want to... It's not up to me. I don't know what they are. You're the one who has to make that call. Okay, fair enough. Let me... Because my thought is, like, I don't know if the coda is really worth its own episode. Gotcha. Maybe it is, but... I'll tell you what. Let's say we're gonna do them together for right now. Mm-hmm. And you think it over and ask some, people who are spoiled and see what they think. And if you want to change it up, we can change it. All right. But for now, we'll just say do them two together. For now, you want to say we'll do them together? Well, it sounds like you feel like it probably wouldn't be worth its own episode. You're on that side of it right now. Which is why I said that, but... Yeah. I mean, we could... Because what we could do is we could do, like, Chapter 13 as an episode... Stanza 13, sorry, as an episode. And then, like, do the coda and then kind of a look back on the book in general as an episode. But that might not be necessary. Let's plan to do them all. Let's plan there will be one more episode of this book, and if we choose to break it up, I'll let you know well in advance. Okay. Does that sound good? So basically, I just talked a lot and came to the same conclusion you reached like 5 minutes ago. So worry, you're a guy. I'm used to it. It's what I'm saying. Oh God.
All right, well, I normally would read new patrons, but I have no internet access tonight for some reason.
Oh, yeah.
So I cannot get to my files to check on that. I'm talking to Miles on the phone as if it's 1998 or something.
Which we've been doing lately, because fuck Skype.
Yeah. So it's really actually nice to be recording locally and not depend on the internet to be able to talk.
Yeah.
I've started doing this with Rashawn, too, a little bit. But yeah, it makes doing any sort of like looking up of things or, you know, whatever, really, it's annoying. I really just like to have the internet, okay? That's all. I'm not asking a lot here.
I thought about suggesting this method to like the Smash Fic people too, but there's 5 of us on any given episode.
Oh my god.
And it can be a little unwieldy. I feel like we did it over a phone call.
That it would be like Mean Girls times 5. I love that. I heard everything you said. So yeah, I will read I will read for this week and the next week on the next episode. My apologies to those of you who just signed up and are not getting your names read on time. I'm sorry. I think that the storm might have knocked out service because I restarted my router a couple times and it didn't do. Usually that's, takes care of it, but I tried it more than once and it didn't do anything. So I'm thinking there might be an actual service interruption.
Have you turned the computer off and turned it back on again?
I did do that before I called you. Yes, because I thought that was the issue initially.
I was joking, but yes.
But yeah, I've done it all.
You've run through the typical troubleshooting steps.
Indeed, my limited scope. So I will get back to y'all. Miles, take it away, sir.
So hey, I actually have, it's not a new thing per se, but I'm going to do my plugs a little bit differently right now. Cause I've actually been, spending some time this week and last week revamping, my old, resume website. And I'm turning it now into essentially, this sounds weirdly narcissistic, but essentially the place you can go to find all my shit. So it's one-stop Miles shopping. And so the website is www.mjschneiderman.com, which is not at all a mouthful. And that's what it's always been, so you can check it out. And if you Google me, if you just want to do it that way, you'll find the website. And it's still... Huh?
I'm sorry, that was just me coughing.
Oh. It's a work in progress still. I just don't have everything up yet. I'm still kind of trying to compile everything. Some of my older, writing is a little bit harder to find, especially when it may or may not have been published on certain websites that now are, radically different than they used to be. Natasha.
What?
The broadcast, dude. The broadcast!
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't think my shit's up on the broadcast anymore, and I'm very offended.
The broadcast, dude, that whole website went down. It's gone.
I know.
Yeah. I'm sorry, my brother.
Fortunately, I have it in a Word document form, and I'm gonna put it back up again. But anyway, so there's gonna be new stuff added to it still. Hopefully, by the time you hear this, it'll be in a mostly complete state. But if it's not, then bear with me on that. But it has links to the website for Smash Fiction, which is the podcast I do where we put fictional characters in fights against one another or other kinds of contests against one another. Our most recent episode's an ice skating match, so, that happened. Because, nice. Yay Olympics! And then has links to... It has actually a link to unspoiledpodcast.com, assuming that's okay with you, Natasha. And then you can go there, find a link to the work I've done with the Odyssey Storytelling Podcast. You can find a link that'll take you straight to Universes of the Mind. My science fiction blog is on that website. And, you can look at all the weird stuff I've done over the course of my life. It's actually... I was going through it again, and it's pretty fucking bizarre, and I love it. So it's if you want to read all of the op-eds that I wrote in college, all of which except one were printed in my college newspaper. The one that wasn't printed also is up on my website. And, it was controversial and they didn't run it, even though they told me, the reason they told me they weren't running it is because, you can't be in the paper all the time, Miles. Like, you can't be in it every week. And I'm like, I'm in it every week. You guys publish me every week.
Oh my god.
That was the only time they didn't run it, and it was because I know why. But anyway. So all that stuff's on there. You can find, like, weird videos that I made in college, and, like, me doing announcing work for the pro wrestling club. And there's just a ton of fun stuff up there on my website now. So it looks new and different. It's got a lot of cool stuff on there. And if you want to experience any of my work or engage in the primary reason why I updated my website, which is hiring me to do some work, then you can go there. www.mjschneiderman.com. And that's go there. Everything is there. Thank you.
Miles, you really gotta work on your conclusions. Do you know how many episodes it's just a wall of words? Like, there's no space between the words you're saying for like a solid 7 minutes. And then all of a sudden, it's like somebody just flipped the switch off. And you're just like, I'm good. And I'm just sitting there like with whiplash. Like, what the hell just happened?
Whoa! Yeah, you're not talking anymore.
Oh, God. I was like, okay, I guess we're done.
I'm just going to start, like, that's seriously going to be my plugs from now on. I swear to God. I'm just going to be like, all my stuff is at mjschneiderman.com. Go there. We're done.
Bye.
How's that for a fucking conclusion?
It's a little aggressive, but I guess it'll do.
I'm also full of shit. I'm not going to make it that concise. What's wrong with you? Like, that's not, there's no way that's happening.
I was under no illusion, sir.
I believe you.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for listening. Leave a review on iTunes if you get a chance to support us and let us know that you love us. Do it. And we will see you next week with the final episode, probably, of Song of Susannah. Toodaloo, motherfuckers.
That was an Unspoiled Network podcast.